Yeah.
And
We've been kind of waiting for this.
Let's try this again.
They're probably wondering why, it hasn't been kept.
thank you, kind of.
Big donation again.
2,500.
We're concert, man. So, 8 minutes, so an hour. I don't know what it'll be.
It's all New York.
Just get into it, huh?
That's all. Keep listening.
Here.
Bill Buckley.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer. Present. Bill Engineer. Bill Hodge.
Present.
Mike Netland.
Present.
What? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just had a couple of procedural notes here. For the handbook. We won't debate any motions until there's actually a motion and a second. Or they can be debated. We have to have a motion and a second on the table. And then each member can speak when they're acknowledged. We're not just gonna speak willy-nilly. It's been a little, I like the conversation, but we're getting a little too free. So just make sure you're acknowledged. And then we'll each speak once and then we'll keep things moving.
So when you say acknowledge, we have to ask for permission to speak, or are you gonna give
Well,
Gladys permission?
I'll give everybody, I always give everybody a chance to speak. I want to make sure. And generally, whoever makes the motion to be the first one to speak on it. I'm sure.
Makes sense.
And we go to approval of the agenda. Anything we need to add?
One item maybe on new business, need to do a job performance evaluation on the Greenwood Connections Administrator. I think that's due, it's coming up pretty quick.
We did.
She had mentioned maybe the end of this month. That was at the last, I don't know if you were there when we were talking about that. Remember when she mentioned that? So I guess that would be on you to maybe reach out to her. And the other thing is we all need to use the same eval document. So last year, remember they were using them over there and then they're using a different one here. It was hard to coalesce the two together to come up with a report.
Have you done it over there yet?
Not yet. Well, we're waiting to get the document to do it with. I don't know if we're gonna use what we've been using for our administrator or clerk treasurer or what. It's up to you. What you want.
We should, because that's the one we use for his. We only do 3 people. We do Brett, Laura, and the fire chief, so we'll stick with that one for now. I just need to look and see what date she needs to, when she's due.
I think she said the 28th is her 1-year review date.
Of May.
Don't hold me to that, but I think
No,
that's
no,
what
no.
Barbara said.
And
If
then,
that's the case, we can get the forms tonight.
yes, and then for clarity, so Greenwood Connection Board, you guys are gonna have Greenwood Connections evals that you will then give to,
Yeah, then we'll combine all of them.
okay, and then at the next board meeting, are you gonna be able to, speak to this and then have them either turn in the evals to City Hall so I can give them to the mayor, or do one of you want to collect them? I just want to lay this all out right now because I do know last year this was pretty contentious.
Yeah, so when's your next, actually, the end of the month is your next actual board meeting, right?
Right.
So that would be
I think
this.
we'd have to just decide on the form, which it sounds like we did,
Yep.
and then get them distributed to each of the board members.
Yep.
ASAP, if we're going to have it ready, completed by our next board meeting.
Yeah.
That was you
We can
meant,
get
though?
ours tonight, it's just a matter of getting it to the other Greenwood Connections board members. We can get a copy of ours,
And so we're just using our eval form
so
for,
everybody's will be the same.
okay. What about police? We don't. Said Greenwood, here, fire chief, not policing.
No.
Go ahead with that. See, I didn't have that
So
option.
you want to put that up for new business?
Yeah, maybe under I.
Other than me.
And maybe I have one other item, maybe that would go under old business.
Who's like?
Yeah, if you set out anyways, so the Pleasant Pine Acres TIF transfer. Is there any new news on that, or can we discuss that, or
Still
not right
waiting.
now?
We're still waiting on,
There's no discussion though?
I sent him a note today, cause I didn't hear anything last week. The last, info I had is, he emailed our proposal to Attorney Skoog. Was it?
No, there's no need to put it on then, Joey.
something.
Okay.
Now, let's ask her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good if we can get that all together for the next meeting. Laura, when is your eval due?
Sometime in June.
June?
So the next meeting, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're just talking about, trying to use the same eval documents, so everybody's using the same one.
So if we give them to
Did
the,
you say the 28th of May or the 28th of June?
for what, our meeting,
No, your eval.
it's June 6th or somewhere in there, so
Okay.
it should be fine. I mean, our date as administrator, is that what you're thinking? Yeah. So I think it was sometime in June, beginning of June. So if we give the board the evals at the next board meeting or the end of the month, they should be able to get done. So you have them for your council meeting, maybe, the first
Well, I
of
think-
June.
I think the plan would be to turn it into Jody and then he can file it.
we will be ours too. We'll get
Yeah, we'll
ours.
June.
Then we
June
can have it
meeting.
with June meeting.
That kind of is what we talked about last time with the board meeting.
And we will be using our form, right?
Yes.
I don't know what your form is, so, yeah, I'll have to get that from you, because I never, yeah. Did you have a new one approved?
No,
No.
no.
Yes. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Bring a second.
Second.
Keith, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved. Nobody signed up for public forum.
Nobody signed up.
You get the consent agenda. April 14th council meeting minutes and April 28th special budget meeting minutes. Anybody find anything correct in there?
I went through them and the enter or the AI software is still making errors as to who's making a motion and who's second, but I didn't bother to go through it right now. I was maybe gonna suggest, Brett, if you wanna just jot down who moves, who seconds, or what the vote is, so you can compare it to what.
No, I do completely. Yeah, now all the motions should be very accurate. Like, I don't copy and paste any of the motions from the AI. That, the only parts from the AI that you see are just the, the actual like discussion that's going on. All the motions I have written down, and those are what are reflected.
Well, I had a couple different written down. That could have been my mistake.
Yeah, let me know too, because I will double check for sure.
Looks like this, but we're taking a motion to approve the consent agenda. So move. Bill. Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. No public hearings. We didn't have the admin zone minutes yet.
No, we do.
When's the new business?
Council, you were, first item here is the first read of the personnel policy. Instead of printing out the behemoth, it is quite long. We sent it to you in an email. We're gonna have, more committee meetings with it. And again, the intention is to kind of, bring it into alignment with also the union contracts as well. And some of the language in the union contracts is pretty favorable, so we're not going to go with it, obviously. But that's just kind of the lens that we're taking with it. And if you see anything, please, I would highly encourage you to email me and let me know so I can put it in there for discussion.
Go ahead.
The Angelica Garneros, is she the attorney? On the copy I had on the side, it was a lot of commentary by Angelica Garneros, so I didn't know if she with the law firm.
Legal down there.
It has to, yeah, it has to be the paralegal. I have not spoken to this individual about it. This was the draft that was, I think, started in 23. And when we started to re-energize this is the document they sent to me.
Because she had made a lot of changes with notations as to what she did. And then I had a question for you, Brett. Did you actually sit down and read through it?
I mean,
Yeah, it's slogging to do, but did you?
yes.
Okay. And you offered your proposed amendments from what you saw?
I haven't really changed much. Because the things that need to be changed should be changed, et cetera, et cetera. I got to talk with the committee first before I make any Brett changes to it. And I quite frankly I'm not comfortable making changes by myself on this document.
I just read through it. One thing that caught my attention that I would have thought you would have changed as you came across it is where city administrator appeared, he changed to city clerk treasurer. These are the areas.
Yes.
These are the areas in the policy that I found where it appeared. So I'll just give these for you, since I already noted them instead of you having to.
Yes.
So I go through it.
Yeah, we brought it up at the personnel meeting. Anywhere it says city administrator, we're going to change it to city administrator / city clerk treasurer. So if we ever go back to a city administrator, we don't have to go through this whole thing again. We cover both.
Yeah, my takeaway was, we got it Friday afternoon, so trying to go through all that information, like you said, there's a ton of information there.
67 pages.
And it's yes, and I completely acknowledge, and this isn't something that we're going to try to ram through. We're trying to be very methodical about it. We're trying to be very smart about it. And yeah, there's a little bit of time that's going to be attached to this, but please understand that, we're trying to make a good product that'll last for the next 5 years before we have to go and peel it back again. And I mean, the can, and I know that, since I've been here, Jody has wanted this updated, and, we're in for a penny, we're in for a pound. So it's on the front burner. It's going to get done. This is just informational. Please look at it. We're not trying to throw this on the agenda to pass, at least for another couple meetings.
Right. That was the idea. Was the personnel reps went through this. We went through what the changes are that make sense that we're recommending. And then we wanted you guys to see it, go through everything. Anything that you guys find that you have issues with or think needs to be clarified, get back with Brett, get those questions answered. Then at the next meeting, we should be able to make some more progress on it. And we'll be going through it again at the personnel level.
I will say it would be nice to have a hard copy because I can't make notations on it on my screen.
So.
And everything in red on there was what's already been through the lawyer. It was all legalese. That's why it's 84 pages instead of 38. Yeah, we got the paper copies. So everything in red was what the lawyer has already been through and changed because of new laws and ESST, and there's just so much.
When was the last time it was down to the lawyer?
I believe that was when Betty was here, and
It had to have been 23. Is going to be my guess.
I think it was, well, she left in March. I think it was January or February 24th, I think. She had the draft, and then it never moved after that.
Well, after all the committees have looked at it and the council has looked at it and what changes have been made that are going to be made, then it'll go back down to the law firm.
Yep. After all said and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot to dig into there when you're bored and need something to read. But I would like to, I'm hoping by the July meeting, I'm hoping we can have our input on it and then it can go to legal and maybe by August, we can actually have a personnel policy. Is the goal. Again. All right. Next up, liquor store manager Heather Shapersky's annual eval summary and raise consideration.
I had the opportunity to sit down with Heather and go through her eval. I have the summary here. If you'd like me to read it, I can read it.
Please.
The city of Menahga wishes to recognize and commend liquor store manager Heather Shapersky for her exceptional leadership, strong work ethic, and unwavering commitment to the success of the municipal liquor operation. From her beginnings as a bartender to her current role, Heather has demonstrated outstanding professionalism, sound judgment, and a deep understanding of every aspect of the store's operations. Her successful evaluation is a reflection of her dedication, reliability, and positive influence on both staff and customers. In recognition of her contributions and exemplary performance, it is both appropriate and well-deserved to advance her compensation accordingly. During my conversation with Heather, so I was looking at you, with Heather, she has not received a step increase for the entire time she's been a manager.
And that's how long
4 years. Yes.
Wow.
she's been stuck on the same step
Yep. That's correct.
year after year.
Correct. And she just never brought it up to anybody here.
And that's when you went from step 1 to step 5?
That's correct. Yes. If you'd like me to read the motion, or okay, the motion is to approve the advancement of the liquor store manager Heather Shapersky from step 1 to step 5 on the city of Menahga pay scale in recognition of her successful evaluation and outstanding service to the community.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Any discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 5-0.
You can tell you're in the military, Brett. I smiled when I read the write-up about Heather, because it read like a commendation that is written in the military.
Mike, I've
Same language, same statements,
I go with what I know. And
military background came through.
it works. Right. Next item is Public Works Director Ron Yelanimi's annual evaluation. I will read the summary as well. The city of Menahga wishes to recognize Public Works Director Ron Yelanimi for efforts and progress in leading the Public Works Department. Over the past year, Ron has demonstrated an increasing ability to manage operations effectively, deliver results, and contribute to the city's infrastructure and maintenance priorities. His knowledge and experience in the field are evident, and his willingness to adapt and respond to feedback reflects a commitment to professional growth. While there remain opportunities for further development, particularly in team oversight and communication, Ron's performance has shown measurable improvement. The city acknowledges these strides and looks forward to his continued leadership and success in advancing the goals of the department. The motion is to approve the advancement of Public Works Director Ron Yelanimi from step 7 to step 8 on the city of Menahga pay scale in recognition of his commitment to his department and willingness to succeed.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion carried.
Next is resolution 2025-10, and this is accepting donations. You will have seen on there is a typo and a little bit of formatting. I'm going to clean this up before it makes it for the signature here. With that acknowledged, I will read the resolution. You'll see that there's that second whereas, that is, I'm crossing that off. Yes, and yes. Okay, resolution accepting donations, whereas the city of Menahga gratefully acknowledges the following donations for the support of the Hooked On Fishing event. $50 from Spirit Lake Lumber, $50 from True Star Credit Union, $2,000 from VFW Post 6206. Whereas the city of Menahga gratefully acknowledges the following donations in support of the Sounds of Spirit Lake event. $400 from Shell Sport and Bait, $75 from Menahga Floors and More, $400 from Yen's Hair Attitude. Whereas these generous contributions help foster community engagement and enhance cultural and recreational experiences for residents and visitors of Menahga. Opportunities for youth and families in Menahga. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Menahga, Minnesota, that the donations described above are hereby accepted with sincere appreciation and will be used to support these events. Adopted by the City Council of the City of Menahga, Minnesota, this day, the 12th day of May, 2025.
So moved. Second,
Second.
on favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Resolution carried.
The next item is a billing dispute with Craig Lowry. Now, I did not include this info in the packets just to kind of protect his data. However, I did send the council a write-up about the issue.
Was he invited to attend tonight?
He was invited to attend. He also filled out a sheet, council sheet to be on the agenda.
So well, you guys all got the email, I'm assuming. The dispute seemed to be over the $100 fee, which is in our policy. If you do not respond to door knockers, you do not respond to door knockers.
He had two of them, two tags left on his door, right?
Correct. So I don't see where, if we're gonna follow policy, I don't see where there's really no choice in the matter. That's what policy's for.
Obviously, with the fee being placed on is when he made contact with the city. So, I mean, and it was expressed to him. So I feel that I agree. It should be to stay on there and we have to follow policies.
You're saying that he was motivated
After he got
By the fee,
by
right,
the fee.
not by the
No.
gentle reminders.
which is what seems to be the case, right, Diane? That's when people generally finally respond, is when they get that, and we're trying to get away from that.
Yeah, they ignore the door knockers, and then when they see that $100 on it, they are encouraged to come in.
Yeah, it doesn't-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it doesn't appear to be a hardship case at all. in my eyes.
What is his rebuttal? Maybe refresh me on the email with her, like,
That when the third door knocker was being placed, he let Ron in. But that was the third.
My thing is, again, he took time away from Public Works having to specifically make a special trip there to hang it twice. That's 2 times that they could be doing something else. Yeah, no, I think we have to stick with
The
it.
consensus is that we follow policy.
Yes.
I agree.
We have to get a motion to that effect.
No, I don't think so. I think
Consensus, we have policy, we have consensus on it. It's been good.
Because if we were changing it, then we'd have to move to change it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next is the tennis court, basketball court property lines. Those of you familiar with GIS and have seen it will know that those lines over that area, they do not match whatsoever. And the school definitely is very concerned about this because they want to retop, I think, the basketball courts.
Basketball and tennis courts.
Yes. And I think, why? I mean, yeah,
So what they're looking for, since they're gonna be spending all this money resurfacing that, is for us to say that that is school property. We've counted that as school property for ever since 1967, when the original deed was signed for $1 to the school. And it can only be used for recreational and whatnot. But this GIS, this west line, if you look at your sheet, the basketball court isn't in there. We think we know what the problem is there. To the west, where we've got half of a tennis court that isn't in their property lines. So the idea is for them to move forward, they would like us to say, yes, this is school property, but we're gonna have to get a survey. Get that line, that west line toward the beach straightened out. And I would say we could go right on their fence line that's on the edge of that tennis court. It doesn't affect us tax wise because they're nonprofit, we're nonprofit, so there's nothing to be gained on taxes on.
So on the county records, that portion is owned by the city?
The portion that's boxed in there,
That's owned by the city on county records.
the boxed in part is the school, and what's outside of it is Menahga property, which is on this GIS.
I see this port here is the,
And we know that it's supposed to go 40 feet farther south, which would encompass to the edge of the basketball court, but we're gonna have to get a survey to get that west line straightened out. Talked with the city engineer. We don't know if they're going to be able to do the survey or if we'd have to pay for a survey here. But we need to get it straightened out in the records so that it's cut and dried.
have you talked to the school, Brett, to the superintendent?
He's been bugging me for weeks.
You've been talking to him. So how did sharing the cost of a survey, how did that develop?
It's our property, it's their property, and there's 2 other properties affected here. My thought is the 4 property owners should share the cost of the survey. Because there's 4 affected properties here. There's that first office building, and there's the old church building, and then there's the school property, and then there's our property. Guessing it would be around $800 per.
Have you talked to the other property owners?
No, yeah. The school has agreed that they would share part of it, but there's 4 different properties there that are all out of alignment as far as the GIS goes.
Question. Where I see this map, now what's not on this map, because it's on the south side, is the volleyball court.
That's city property.
And is that gonna maintain? Because I know the school uses it, for instance, we did today.
Yeah, we
So
let them.
class over, volleyball, pickleball, basketball, the whole thing was being occupied. I didn't know if that was part of an extension, if we're gonna do this.
No, because we need that spot to run our sewer line through
Okay,
between the
so
hotel.
that's just a
there.
mutual, city owns it, school uses it.
Right. Go ahead, Ron.
Did you talk to superintendent at all, decide to hold off on that tennis court till 2028?
They thought about it, but Chris Thorson's already said we're gonna move that line so it won't go through their tennis court.
Also, we're gonna move it through the volleyball.
Yeah, through the volleyball court and around the back there, so it won't affect them. They did ask about removing the manhole cover, and I said, no, you cannot remove the manhole cover until we move the sewer line, because we need access.
Right.
So we may have to just put a ring on there to raise up that manhole when they resurface. I don't know if you'll need an 1.5 ring or 3-inch ring, depending on how much they put on there, but that has to stay in place until the sewer line is moved.
Well, and once a survey is completed, is the intention then that the city would issue a deed to the school for that portion to get it into their name?
It would be a property line adjustment is all it would amount to. Because there's already a deed for that property. We would just have to adjust that back line. So the legal description needs to change enough to encompass that west line to the edge of the fence.
Well, the bottom line is the intention is to put it into the schools.
Yes, yes.
And my question, Jody, I know that, the street between, APO and the lumberyard, there's been contention about that being an 80-foot right of way.
Yeah.
And I think if that is the case, everything should be bounced or pushed to the south.
Yeah.
And then you have a right of way on for Highway 71, where I think this block or the boundary that you have depicted here, that is in the right of way.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Kind of shift that over
Yeah,
to
we
the west?
shift it over, and that's the whole thing. Everything is out of whack here. That box should not be out in the highway. And we know it's, according to Chris Thurston, everything should move 40 feet south because of that 80-foot on that road. It's the only odd road in town that has an 80-foot. And apparently he's found one pin there that shows that to be correct, but until we have an official survey, we can't just go willy-nilly adjust the lines around.
Right. And I know when Joni Limata was the mayor, I think she was pretty involved with the layout of that, especially when that dispute was going on. You know, is it 40 or is it 80?
Right.
So everything should be brought down and then bumped over to the west, but as far as the burden of costs, when you say $800 per party, has the surveyor given you a?
No, that's a guesstimate based on what I spent when we had 3 properties over here done. And if they have a pin anywhere close, it could be less.
I know, but should we burden the landowners with that
Well,
expense?
the only thing that's goofy right now is like on that church property, we couldn't issue a building permit for that property in any way, shape, or form with these current lines, because it would be a non-conforming lot the way it's sitting without a survey. And we can't tell where's that real property line.
So it's advantageous for them.
It's advantageous for them. I mean, it's up to the council. If the council wants to say that just the school and the city will bear the burden, that's fine with me if that's what we want to do.
If you can get other property owners to share the costs, that's even better.
Well, that was my thought. There's 4 properties involved. And it's like, do they want to know where their property line is?
So the survey would pin all 4 properties.
Yeah.
Complete. I mean, they give you every reference point, northeast and south.
We should definitely ask the other properties, because if, say, I was one of those property owners, somebody was gonna initiate this endeavor, I might jump on.
Yeah.
You know, split the cost, and then I know, like in this case, you're saying, let's say I own that, like, and I wanted to remodel and add on, well, I can't do it, because we're already in.
How we can prove we're
Right, so it's beneficial for at least this side of the property owner. Then there's the school, the city, and the 4th party, I guess it's up to them, so it might be split 3 ways if. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, oh, sorry.
No, I'm done.
But it's, I mean, even with those 2 buildings, the church and then where the next APQ is. I mean, if it ever comes down to selling it, they're gonna have to have a property description or legal description for the property, so.
Well, these county lines here in was a GIS.
Yeah.
These are not
They're
correct.
not accurate, no, and we've talked to Wadena County, and it's like, what is correct? And there hasn't been any surveys in the area, so they can't speak to where the real property lines are.
Because I would guess that as soon as they get the new property lines, they go in and adjust it, so. I mean, and that's,
The legal descriptions are probably correct. You know, probably. Except when we change this line, that would be a new legal description for the school if it moves that far west. Everything's kind of jumbled there. One property goes farther back and it's very strange.
So you'd get a certified survey and have it registered with the county.
Yeah. So we can then the GIS can be changed to be correct also. Bottom line is the school needs us to say this is their property so they can move forward. And the city has always, since 1967, said tennis courts are yours, basketball courts yours. If that's agreeable, that's what we'd be.
So this would hold up pickleball courts from going in until that certified survey.
That's what's holding it up. Well, no, what's holding it up is just for us to say that school property. With the caveat of there will be a survey done to encompass that in the near future.
Well, I guess my question would be, if you did have a survey and let's say they put the courts in, then you had a survey that comes in and then it shows somehow that basketball court and pickleball court are on people's property, that would cause an issue, wouldn't it?
Well, that's where we'll do a boundary adjustment. That's what I'm talking about. We get the survey in. The south line's gonna move far enough south as far as the city engineer believes. It's supposed to move 40 feet. But this west direction is where we don't know, and what I'm recommending is that we would change the legal description when it's surveyed, get them to survey it out so that it comes to this west line of the tennis ball courts where their fence is, so that cuts off right there, so it'd be a matter of just, hopefully it's just changing that one boundary line.
I guess my question is, go ahead and let them put it in and then survey it?
Yeah.
Or would you survey it and then put it in?
I'd let them put it in because we've always said it's school property. And then we'll survey it to get the legal description to that line.
Oh, we'll match whatever the courts are and say, this is.
Make sure they have that line.
And there wouldn't be any issues with, the Curdy or the church property to the north?
I would suggest we have it all surveyed so that everybody knows where all the property lines are.
And you mentioned there is a survey marker somewhere
Yeah,
alongside. the-
Chris believes they found the one on the west side of APO, the 80-foot mark. He thinks he's found that one when they've been doing some of their work around town.
What they can find, at least my experience was, and I ran into that a lot with lakeshore property, with lake lots. That they discover this lot has these adjustments, they adjust them and it just bounces its way right down the entire beach. That could be, not saying it will be, but it is possible that could be a chain reaction on all of the property owners. It's a possibility, not saying it would be, but
We own that slot in between the basketball court and the motel already. So it won't affect anybody other than us and the school. Church building and APO building would be the four that
We own this too, right?
Yeah.
It'd be, it's like,
Yeah.
all the way up to it, so all of this is.
so
Did he give you a construction date at all? You're doing it? Putting in the courts, did he give you a construction date?
they're chomping at the bit. They want to do it, but they don't want to do it. How we say, yes, this is your problem.
I don't have a problem, conferring with them and saying this is where, you're gonna put it in and then we'll adjust our boundaries, our description to match what's sitting there. So that's what you're
That's what I'm
promoting.
looking for.
I don't have a problem with that. The only thing I'd have a problem with, because based on this project moving forward, why would we force the landowners north and south to be part of it?
I think it'd be just the church and then the two north. The two north properties. Should be the church.
Isn't this one property or isn't the motel another one? It wouldn't affect the
It
motel.
won't affect the motel, it would affect. So APO, the church, the school and the city are the ones that are in this. Where the questions are.
Isn't this Jensine and Keith's and then I
Right.
think this is her son's or Jensine's
I think the son, I
owns
can't remember what
that.
his name
I
was.
can't remember either.
Chris, yeah.
So I think it's, yeah, just
Well, I'm with you, Bill. Maybe that conversation should be had with the landowner to make sure that, this wouldn't be coming up unless this project would be moving forward. There wouldn't be any question about it, so.
I wonder if you think it would be beneficial to have a motion acknowledging that, we're gonna get it surveyed and that the tennis courts and the basketball court belongs to the school.
That's what we're looking for.
I'll make that a motion
We'll make a motion.
and then proceed with the survey as well.
Designate. Tennis courts and basketball courts as school property.
I think.
And also to proceed with the survey.
Just speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be outlined to add that the burden cost of the survey would be shared by the city and the school and
Yes,
leave out the landowner? The private landowner.
either that or I would approach it and just say, hey, see if they would be willing to. If not, then it would be shared between the school and the city.
Whichever way the council wants to go, it benefits. Private property owners too, like I said, because right now they couldn't get a building permit on
Well, the
that.
only thing you'd be doing is surveying the south points on their property. You wouldn't be going up and
I
around.
like understanding. This initiative, and I'm sorry, this initiative was from the school applying with the city, trying to get lines right. So if we bring in landowners, they shouldn't be tagged with $800+
That's my thought. I mean, it's gonna
Yeah, I
benefit
agree.
the city and the school to a certain degree. There's no benefit.
Well, it's gonna benefit.
It'll benefit them, but they didn't ask
This
for it.
wouldn't, this wouldn't arose unless this
Yeah.
court issue would come up.
That's why I said, approach them, see if they would if they would be willing to. If not, they say, sorry, we can't afford it, we don't want it, then
How about if we do this? Does this make sense if we were to make the motion that we'll have it surveyed with the cost shared by all of the property owners? And should issues arise with cost sharing, we'll leave it up to the mayor to determine how to do it.
Subjectively. And the motion should be.
Well, I think it should be made by this whole council.
yeah.
Not him to get into a.
Yeah, I don't wanna get into a.
Well, then I'll make my motion to survey with the cost bear by the school and the city.
That would second that motion.
Survey to be scheduled. And costs shared by school and city. Mike, seconded by Darwin. Any other discussion?
Question.
Sure.
And that's the dialogue you were having, I was trying to follow. So would we not, in my mind, would we not get it surveyed? Then they know what their boundaries are, or I heard the flip of that where they're just gonna do their thing and we'll survey it after.
Right, because this line is what, right now being in the middle of a tent, we don't wanna own half 10 square.
Right.
We wanna make sure that's designated, so when it's surveyed, you know, this line will get moved where it belongs, and this line will get moved where it belongs, and then these need to shift. That's in the right of way. That can't be correct in the first place. And maybe it'll already shift back far enough to be on this line is what I'm hoping. But the survey is the only thing that's gonna tell that.
I see. And since we have wiggle room, cause it's going west, it's just
City property.
shore, water, you know, then you're saying, hey, put your cord in. When you have your footprint, then we'll survey it and.
Right, I don't get the actual legal.
Footprint's already here. They're not gonna change.
They're not
the
gonna add
footprint.
on.
They're not adding on. It's staying where it's at, so it's just a matter of getting this line designated as the edge of that. And like I say, it might be when we do the survey, it might all line up. But we won't know without survey.
And if you could just read the motion in its entirety one more time.
Motion is to designate tennis courts and basketball courts as school property. Survey to be scheduled and cost shared by school and city. And it should also, I would say, and lines adjusted as necessary. Property lines adjusted as necessary. So you got a motion and second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Both same sign. Motion carried.
Next is to appoint Victoria Nurmi to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The city of Menahga has offered Victoria Nurmi a position on the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill a current vacancy.
Finally found someone to say yes.
Let's get the back on him.
So she came to the last meeting. There's been a hole in the planning and zoning, which I didn't even realize. They brought it up 2 meetings ago. They said, yeah, we're still short a person. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. So I just asked a couple of people and she said, well, I would do it. So I brought her, she came to the last meeting and sat in, and it was the planning commission's motion to approve her.
Make that motion to appoint her.
Second,
Second.
any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign.
Council, this is your absolute favorite subject, Juneteenth,
Aye.
2025, yes. Adopting Juneteenth as a recognized city holiday aligns with our community with both federal and state standards, as it is now a designated holiday at those levels. We are currently one of the few cities in the state that have not adopted it, and our previous decision not to recognize it resulted in a grievance that cost the city time and money to resolve. Formally recognizing Juneteenth, we mitigate the risk of future labor disputes and related costs. This is a straightforward step towards consistency, fairness, and fiscal responsibility.
I thought we had already worked our way through this. That date would be, they could take the day off and use their own PTO time if they wanted to. And the city wouldn't have any activities or functions.
We've done, we've
But if
taken
that
that
is
position twice.
And if we're gonna allow that, then we should take away another. So why would we give them an extra holiday and burden the taxpayers with paying them for another
Well,
holiday?
the bottom line is it's cheaper to pay the holiday than it is to pay for another grievance and legal costs on it, because there'll be another grievance and more legal costs
I
on
thought
it
that grievance was settled.
That issue was already settled by a grievance.
in 24.
Was already settled though. No
So how
factor.
could they file another grievance once that grievance was already settled?
I think since then is when it became the national holiday, you know? 24, it was, what was it?
It was a national holiday in
It's
24.
recognized.
I think it was a state.
Yeah, there was something where it wasn't quite as official as it is now. I don't recall.
I know the state of Minnesota, they had a, I don't know if it was actually written in the law that was an official holiday, but it gave an option to municipalities and cities if they wanted to or not wanted to, where you could recognize it, but why would you have to compensate another holiday and the state isn't gonna reimburse us for it? So it comes out of all of our taxpayers' pockets
Yeah.
to pay that extra holiday that I don't think is right.
No, neither. I will vote, I will make a motion, to decline the suggestion.
Motion is to decline. Juneteenth is a paid holiday.
They can recognize it and that they can take a day off and do whatever they want to recognize it and celebrate it. But I don't think the taxpayers should be burdened. I'll second your motion, Mike.
Decline to change and leave it like it is for the city.
Okay, so the motion is to decline. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? I would say it's gonna cause us problems, but we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed, same sign. Aye.
Aye.
Warning we have, so that motion fails. Anybody else want to make a motion?
Just trying to look here, see what. I was trying to find that where it says for the employees, but I'm not finding it
While
here.
you're looking, I agree with both you guys, but I do know the world in which we live in. It's like, Mayor's got a point. It's just gonna resurface. It's gonna cost us money. It's one of those things like, do we want to die on this hill? Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. I agree with you guys, but
I look
we
at it
gotta
this
take
way,
our
that
lumps in some degree, and if it's just, I mean, I don't know what the slippery slope is, because now it's this one, right?
Let's
And then they
get a
come up with
separate,
another one.
let's get a separate motion on the table to discuss it. I'll make the motion to approve Juneteenth as a paid holiday and add it to the list of federal and state holidays recognized by the city. Can I get a second?
Second.
So did we budget for this added cost?
It's in our budget.
So you budgeted not even knowing if we actually approved this?
But that's the budget, yeah.
25.
Yeah, it's in there for this.
Why was there-
Yeah.
why have a line item for?
Well, no, I don't know if I got it for it,
So
but
you
it's
just got
under.
a slug of money sitting there that you can just reach into and grab and say this is for the
Well, that,
Juneteenth holiday?
no, that's not how the budget works. We all know that. But there is funding there for this. We're not running ourselves dry, over one single holiday.
Well, I'm just wondering why you would put into the budget reserve for something that wasn't approved in developing the 25 budget, which you did in 24.
We do that for literally everything. The budget is a
Projected.
guesstimation
projected.
for a lot of things.
So going to this, on the League of Minnesota Cities website, there's a little blog, it says Juneteenth, what is it and why is it a holiday? Way down at the end, it says this year, Governor Tim Walz signed a bill recognizing Juneteenth as a state holiday in Minnesota. Although the law goes into effect August 1, 2023, a provision in the bill requires the day to be observed this year. This means cities will need to adjust their schedules to recognize June 19th as a holiday.
Yes,
So-
but
Well, either way, I mean, if the state has,
the city was allowed to recognize it, but could not call it a holiday and could give the employees time off with their pay, PTO in other words, if they wanted to take it. That's how it was recognized. Now, I will just say this, and I know, budget negotiations are coming up here. And I know that would be a focal point, if you will, of the unions. My thought is keep our current position because then it can be a give me during negotiations. I mean, they have to walk away feeling like they won something for their members. And that could be an easy give me, if you will, because I know it's going to be on the table during negotiations. So why take it off the table when it could be a rollover give me? Let them walk out the door saying, well, we got this for you. For our
Sure, could I ask a real question?
members.
Laura, do you guys play Juneteenth as a paid holiday?
We do not. So because of the 11 holidays that we're required to pay, which is still in court right now, we were allowed to have employees vote if they wanted to be paid for what holidays they wanted to choose. And Juneteenth wasn't one that they chose to have.
But you're required to pay 11.
We, according to what's in the court system, and right now, what we're doing, we've had to add those other holidays in to pay 11, but it's still under, they were supposed to have an answer by May for sure. It's still in the court system that they're appealing it because this is one of those unfunded mandates for nursing homes. Only nursing homes in Minnesota are required to pay, that they're making a requirement to pay 11 holidays.
Cities
But we have
currently-
not,
Okay.
we have not, and even if with those 11 holidays, we will not be paying Juneteenth. It was decided there was more of a vote for the other ones, the other holidays versus and they voted to replace it with something else because we have Easter as a paid holiday. So
The city currently has 10
so
paid
no,
holidays.
we don't.
Here, we have 10.
But that was,
We had
I thought,
seven. We had 7 prior to this. We had 3 less than the city had up until this year when we're required to keep on working toward 11 until, yeah. And I don't know that we will. We've talked about it. If it goes back to, if they don't, we're not going to have 11 paid holidays.
Is it 10 holidays the city currently observes?
Yes. All right, so we've had plenty of discussion. I think let's call a vote. We got a motion and a second to approve Juneteenth as a paid holiday and add it to the list of federal and state holidays recognized by the city. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. The Armstrong, Warning, Hodge, all opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion passes 3-2. Bill, you have to take off, Brown? Well, then the next thing is what we added. Setting the email for Laura. And we'll just let them agree we'll set that for 6/9, then our next regular council meeting.
yeah, if we can get, if our board can get them all filled out and get them back.
They just have to get them to you so you can get them to me. And we'll have to get ours turned in to me before the next meeting.
Maybe you should just, I'll be away, so maybe just get them to me and I'll give them to him.
When do you want them by the
Or
second?
have them give them to me. I don't think you should have access to seeing them until after they're compiled.
So, how about when we send them out and they just bring them to the board meeting and they can get them to you and then you can give it to him. So our board meeting, which is on the 26th, I think, of May,
As long as I get them all, as long as I get them from everybody by the second.
they're going to get them to you then.
Okay.
as long as they're here by the second, you said.
Then I gotta compile them all into.
Yeah.
Here.
And if you don't mind, I just want to summarize real fast. Her eval will be the June 9th city council meeting. all the evals are due to the mayor by the 2nd of June. We're going to be using the city eval for all parties involved.
Yep, yep. So we can file a copy.
I'll need to have you send that to me.
I will send it to you. And moving along to the department committee reports, we have the police report here from Amy. It looks like she had 213 calls. Okay, 1 warrant arrest and working on getting the digital speed sign replaced.
I think that, oh, sorry, the speed sign, when the last time it was hit. Yeah, this was back when I was working, it was,
One by Earl?
yeah, so MnDOT said it was up to the city's responsibility to take care of that. That was when I dealt with it.
Oh.
So we had to buy it ourselves and then the vehicle insurance reimbursed the city for the sign and labor of putting it up.
I think that's what she's working on now.
Yeah, so I don't know if anything's changed, but I was gonna remember to talk with her, let her know, but that was back when I had to deal with it the last time, so. And that was just, I think it was, Ron, do you remember, I think it was Less Electrical, now Bergstrom was the one who did all the work of putting it in and the sign and installing it, so.
Yeah, I let her know that. We've been working on it.
Yeah, but I think if I remember right, MnDOT said that it wasn't their responsibility to put up, because that was something that the city chose to do, so it was on us to put it up and then have the property insurer, or the vehicle insurance pay for it, so.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to pass that on to her.
I mean, it looks like she's aware.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she has specifically on to replaced by driver's insurance.
Yeah.
I do know that is definitely an item that people want to see come back.
Oh, I miss it.
Yeah, so do
Not that
I.
I speed, but it's kind of nice to
Good
have.
reminder.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, right before the school, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder. Right, so we have a couple evals for the police department. The city of Menahga wishes to commend police officers Derek Hutari and Joe White for their dedication, professionalism, commitment to public safety. Both officers recently received successful evaluations reflecting their strong performance and positive impact on the community. Officer Hutari, who is currently at the top of the pay scale, remains an invaluable member of the department. Officer White, currently at step 6, continues to demonstrate excellent judgment, reliability, and engagement in his duties. Recognition of his contributions and continued professionalism, it is recommended that Officer White receive a step increase in accordance with city policy.
Has he been back on the police department for an entire year already?
Yes, sir.
Really? When did we bring him back?
I think just before I was hired. I think he was moved to full-time in April.
Really? It doesn't seem that long ago.
Don't remind me.
Do you do the evals or does Amy do the evals?
Amy does the evals. I review them afterwards.
And then, so Joe moves up. Derek just gets his cost of living with the union stuff. Okay.
That's a motion is to approve the advancement of Menahga police officer Joe White from step 6 to step 7 on the city of Menahga police officer pay scale in recognition of his successful evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carried.
You have the numbers from the referral from Heather. Oh, with this weather, I certainly hope it continues to keep going.
We'll be heading into the more heavier sales end of the year. So.
And you'll hear it at the council work session, but we're definitely making some progress on getting an extension onto the liquor store. Now you, Councilmember Tomfrey, are part of this, and I'm really excited to see this getting finished.
I've got some update on that. He hasn't got back to me with all the numbers yet, but I'm thinking we make them in right around 50. But it's a little smaller. It's not the 32 foot, it'd be a 20 foot. So there's like
Extended onto the building?
on the west side, and there's a cooler for sale that's a 14 by 20. Center out there.
Is there? Yeah, there's sufficient room, there in the sidewalk, isn't there?
We'd only be going 14 feet and there's 20 something feet.
And that's the add-on to the store portion of that.
Yeah, just on the west end, just for the cooler.
Yeah, there was, at our fundraiser on Saturday night, there was a gentleman that approached you, goes, you have to expand your liquor store. Not the bar portion of it, the store portion of it. That's where you guys make your money.
Yeah.
So, well, it comes down to having money to do it.
So we're looking at.
We're talking about doing an interior remodel at all as well, more than the oil sale. I mean.
No, all for now, the roof is being done here this coming week. And then adding that cooler on to the west side. That would be what we've done this year.
We're talking about a new paint job on the inside.
Yeah,
That's flooring.
flooring, she said can wait. She'd rather have this cooler. And beneath the roof. They have a saying that if it's cold, it's sold. And
It shouldn't cost much to get a paint job on the inside though, should it? That's not high, that's not high cost.
Ralph into doing it would be a good show.
You talk nice enough, I bet you could.
Been 5 years, it was painted in 2020.
Was it?
Yeah, now that the roof will be done, I mean, there's a few ceiling panels that should get replaced where they were stained, and I mean, there's some odds and ends, but the biggest thing was getting the roof done, and then if she can get this cooler added on, and she still will have money to do some of this peripheral stuff.
Is this is significantly under the estimate that we originally kind of came up with,
What?
75 is what we were originally thinking. This is
You're now at what, 50 or?
We're hoping we're up 50. We haven't got all the final numbers yet, but it looks like we'll come in pretty decent.
Very cool.
The next item is some liquor store evaluations and raise considerations. This is the same thing. Heather did eval her own people, and I reviewed them before writing this. Liquor store manager Heather Shapersky has completed successful evaluations for both assistant manager Rachel Vitalia and liquor clerk Scott Nordback. Heather has recommended a step increase for each employee in recognition of their continued dedication, reliability, and excellent performance. Scott did not receive his scheduled raise during his anniversary month in September 2024, and this action will bring him back in alignment with the City of Menahga's pay step system. Rachel's performance continues to meet expectations in her leadership role, and this step increase reflects her ongoing contributions to the success of the municipal liquor store.
Then should Scotty's be retroactive to his anniversary date then, since it was missed?
Be fair, it probably should
I
be.
mean, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm in that motion. But retroactive to anniversary date.
I'll make,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I make the motion, but it hasn't been read yet, so.
Well, the motion will be to approve step increases for Rachel Pietala, currently at step 8, to move to step 9. Scott Nordback, currently at step 6, move to step 7, retroactive to his anniversary date on the liquor store pay scale as recommended by the liquor store manager following their successful evaluation.
I'll make the motion.
But his increase would be at two different amounts. It would be at last year's amount from when it should have September till December, and then at the higher amount from December forward.
Correct. Yes.
Can I get a second to that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, next up on the docket here is Public Works. Ron, if you want to come up and be prepared to answer some questions. The top floor is finished now.
Top floor is finished. That's my first big thing on there. You need.
Another 3 weeks you can drive on
Want to make sure it's completely cured.
And I just want to also point out that this brings us up into compliance with OSHA, correct?
There's them lights on the east side that didn't have the covers
Okay,
that we gotta get them updated.
okay,
So we're
that,
looking-
that's the last thing, right?
That's the last
Okay.
one.
Great.
Update on the beach house lift station wastewater treatment. That has been working great. I mean, you can tell the grease aspect in there. The over here at the main, you can tell that it's feeding over here and treating the main lift station also. So. Roads were graded. Just on Thursday, they reclaimed 11th Street, so I'm glad people are bearing with it. It is pretty rough, you can tell. They are gonna be bringing class 5 onto there to be bringing it up to grade. So. Been fixing the road edges, still got quite a few to get to. Save that pavement from busting off more. Aluminum sulfide has been ordered for treating secondary pond for the discharge. Probably be, I think they said next week with getting it delivered.
What's that stuff do?
It suspends the total suspended solids. Puts them down to the bottom, clear up the water for discharge.
And do the bugs eat all this stuff too?
The bugs are treating partial, but this is to decide to get it below to our level of discharge.
Okay.
I did have it on here, 7th Street, so new service lines were put in, but it was on 7th Street, not 6th Street by the contractor. Also Cedar's gonna be having out there in Southgate, Cedar's gonna be having new service lines going from the main over there too.
For Madson's and David Lakes.
Yep. David's already there, so it's the 4 across, so there's 2 across the road. Two service lines are already in there. They're having to add two more for the 2 new houses since they split them lots. So I'm doing interviews Wednesday, March 14th, starting at 1700. So if personnel committee can be present.
Would be the 5 o'clock.
Yes.
How many applicants did you get?
5. I got a hold of 3 right now for them. I still gotta try to get a hold of the other 2. So there were 9 total. There were other ones that already had taken previous jobs. So came down to 5 of them.
Any of them with the requisite experience?
Not the whole experience. I mean, there's ones that have plowing experience with regular pickup truck and stuff like that.
I mean,
But I mean, it's
Part of the conversation I had with Ron about this is we cannot find somebody with a CDL or with any type of wastewater certifications. So we're gonna have to do that in-house. And
Yeah.
What we kind of looked at, once we came to that realization is what secondary skills do these applicants have that can benefit the city in terms of like, do they have mechanical background, landscaping background? So something that'll, be a value add in addition to the certifications and qualifications they get while working here.
Did these people come to us via this, network we just paid to belong to?
Yes, they did.
Did they? All of them?
All, unless, do we have any hand?
there weren't all hand.
Okay, 100% from HireClick then.
Or we've talked about that too is as we interview and when we decide if we're gonna hire somebody, they're gonna have X amount of time to get a CDL, X amount of time to get their class C, their class D. Yeah, we're gonna put a timeline to it, so it isn't a forever deal. We're gonna need CDL in short order for the snow plow and whatnot, but
And then I wanted a consensus for, if we do find a candidate to start the onboarding process before the June meeting.
well, personnel reps will seen them, so it's up to you guys.
Well, Jody, I think you can pretty good at just making decisions like that. I mean, I trust that you wouldn't promote somebody that isn't gonna fill the job.
Well,
And then they have a 6-month probation.
it'd be on probation, it would all be depending on background check and. Well,
Yeah, that way we get the ball rolling for the background check.
Local in the area.
It's gonna be, Park Rapids. I think we might have one from Topeka.
And one local.
Okay.
And what?
One local.
You said May
Or
14th,
two local.
May 14th was the,
Yes,
Okay.
Wednesday, on Wednesday.
okay, I wrote the wrong date, so that's why.
You know, so you didn't get the dock out for fishing.
Yeah. One quick question for you. I got myself a new bicycle, so I've been going around Menahga. There's a lot of boops all over, a lot of dips and seams that need to be cold patched or filled or whatever. Is that something you do throughout the summer, or when do you attack that?
We usually would be able to try and attack more now. It's just we've tried to get as much time
You don't
as
have enough
possible
staff,
to get,
probably, yeah.
you know. Cause it, trying to get out there and street sweep, so I'm going early tomorrow to try to hit more of the street sweeping. And then we can try to get them potholes and more of the cracks filled in throughout the time, so.
Make mental notes on when you're writing out what date, what roads and where.
Yeah, if you wanna shoot me an email too, I can make sure this gets out there.
I think you know where they're at.
It's just a matter of having the time to get to them.
Do we need a lifeguard for these, potholes too?
Not yet.
Yeah, but it's getting close.
I do have on the action to, so. The action request form. Put in the 2000 Chevy for trade-in toward the 3/4 ton truck. Being able to have a bigger truck to haul a trailer with a skid steer. We have the 1 ton, but none of us have a class A. He said, pull the trailer.
You have a CDL, right?
CDL, but if you need a class A to pull the
CDL covers everything.
combination,
CDL, as
Not
long as you're
for-
under 26,000, you're
yeah,
on.
so that's not,
You wouldn't be with the skid steer on that trailer.
you'd be over the 26,000, you got the truck and also pulling the.
So do you move them around?
That's when we rented it. We were not doing it the proper way, so now we need to be able to get a 3/4 ton.
Very difficult. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a lot of weight on a half ton.
So give us some numbers. What are we looking at?
I know I got from Sunnybrook, it would be around 26,000 instead of the 35 I wrote there. So if I can do up to 26,000,
And that includes a trade-in as well?
yes,
Okay.
And that covers the extra stuff he's gonna do on it.
yes,
So we make it 27,000, just so we're not running into any.
What extra is he
just in
doing
case
to it?
there's,
Put new tires on it,
Yeah,
they're
new
doing a
tires.
little body work, they're just fixing some stuff up that needs to be fixed on it.
And what is it you're looking at acquiring from Sunnybrook?
it's a 2019 Chevy 2500 LT with 101,000 miles.
101?
Yes.
Wouldn't you be better off to look for something with lower miles?
When we're looking at that upper, it was around 45,000 and higher price. He was trying to find something below that 100,000 every time it was, they just keep on going up in price for 45,000. We're trying to find that 30,000 or below is what we're trying to go by.
This is 27,000 after the trade-in, right?
Yes.
What's the trade-in value in the pickup?
It
5,
was Chevy, Ranger, and Crown Vic for 5.
Are you giving them 3? Chevy,
You're getting 5 on each of them,
No, 5 total.
or 5 for the 3?
For the 3.
Yeah, do you think it's a good deal?
Yes.
What was the other one? The Chevy, the Crown Vic, and what was the other one?
The Ranger.
Little ticker. Ticker.
Do you know the ownership background on that vehicle? Did they run a car check? Or whatever that's called, I forget.
He will have it.
Carfax.
Yeah. He will have it all. This was a quick thing. He wanted me to get in there and be able to see it so I can bring the information to council tonight.
I'd like to know what the ownership on the vehicle has been. And if it's been in any collisions, any accidents.
That aspect
There's a
there
lot of-
was. He
there's a
said
lot
there
of
was
information missing.
nothing of that part wrong.
Well, the Carfax would say that then. And personally, I don't like buying a vehicle with that many miles. How many miles a year would you put on a vehicle like this, would you say, Ron?
Average is what, around 3 to 4? I think that's roughly what it's been.
So you get at least 10 years out of it.
It'll rust out before, just like all the, yeah.
100,000 miles on a vehicle is nothing these days.
Well, that's why I'm interested in prior ownership. I mean, you're right, if it's been cared for properly. But you can also have people that just don't change oil, they just don't take care of it.
We can add it into the motion for a, how do you want to put it, satisfactory Carfax?
Yeah, satisfactory Carfax.
Satisfactory Carfax report. So that would be the motion to approve Public Works to find a truck for up to $27,000 total with trade-ins satisfactory, based on a satisfactory Carfax report. Get a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
You feel comfortable with the truck run?
Was a sound truck. It was a very sound truck.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Did we have a resolution for that Chevy or?
No, because we're not, putting it up for sale. We're trading it in.
So,
It-
oh,
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron.
thank you.
When's the free burger? Oh,
And Laura, hi. Welcome.
Sorry, I'm dressed up casual today. It was nursing home week and we were, outside a lot and I thought I was supposed to go on a trip dressed for going on an airplane. So, you were casual. So
you were on a long day.
I was on the wrong day. As I'm up there speaking, I'm like, oh, that's tomorrow. Oh, well, I got the stretchy pants off today, so. Okay, so, let's see where to start. Let's start with our census is about the same. We've been about 58, 57, 58, 60. Our census has actually been really good for the first part of the year. We're at that 88, 90%. And we had a profitable month again for March. Let's see. I know I'm going to get questions on there, or maybe you're not going to ask me questions on the Senate and approval of the bill or not, or should I go there?
I don't know, it's so up in there.
So the 1.2 million, that's, probably some of you have seen it on the Facebook posts and that number actually came as well from, and I have a sheet here if you guys would like to see it. And it doesn't really give you, it's not set in stone. It'll just give you an idea of where they're coming from. Okay, two of them again. Did you want me to? Okay. It just, this actually comes, Jeff Bostic is the director of the finance and policy for Leading Age Minnesota, and they're the ones actually, they are very involved with the Senate, or they go to the hearings, and he created this, and I've questioned him a few times because it's like really hard. Like this is not definitely what's going to happen. But for us, there was a 2 million, and you probably saw that, but then there was some changes to, we originally were supposed to have a cap at 2% increase, and it changed to a 4% increase. So that actually helped us, and why ours changed a little bit. But if you remember, I mean, we had 91 beds, and we're at 65. So our beds have been delicensed through the years to 65, and that's what's caused where a lot of this dollar amount is coming from, because we have the 26 bed closures that we've had over the years. And Governor Wall, and in the bill that was passed through the Senate, it was taking away that removal of the planned closure rate adjustment for single bed rate incentives. So that's where we saw a lot of our decrease. We didn't see, so some of this other decrease in here is actually for facilities that are really close to their cap in spending on their cost report. So we're okay there because I think he said there was like maybe 100 facilities affected by that, but we're not close to our cap based off of our quality measures. So depending on where your cares are, your quality measures, every facility has a cap that they can spend. So it doesn't really kind of make sense, because the better you are, the better spend you have. But the worse you are as a facility in your quality measures, the lower amount you can spend. It's kind of like they allow you to spend more if your quality measures are better. We're never close to that cap. Each nursing facility rates are dependent on the rates in the city. So they're set on the 7-county metro area. So there's a lot of complicated things to it. There's a lot that goes into it. And I just kind of wanted to give you that very high level overview of what it looks like, because this isn't, when we hear this 1.2 million, it isn't necessarily what we're going to see, but we are going to see a decrease in rates over the next 4 years. And this gives the 4-year total of 1.2 million. So, I mean, yeah, we will see, if everything passes through, we will see a rate decrease. And also, this right here, is not taken into consideration the unfunded mandates, although there was a in the bill that did pass and said, and I don't know, you probably saw in the news, that nursing assistants would be now the rates for 2026 that we needed to start all CNEs at 2250. That actually did pass the House. So don't know that that's totally passed yet either. The other one passed the Senate. But we are, that's something that we're still working through as well. And we probably will see, unless something like that changes. And that's again where that holiday came from, and that's that Nursing Home Work Standards Board that was created last year that said that this is what nursing homes have to do. So
on that same part of discussion, the same talks are they're, looking to cut LGA, so local government assistance as well. Have you reached out to our state rep yet?
I have actually, and our state representative, both of them. I mean, the senator in this area, Paul Udke, he's very, if you've read his Facebook page, you're very familiar with, he posts and he's showing what nursing homes are going to see for cuts. I've talked to him, and I actually left him messages, and I said, I realize it. I'm only doing my part to say, hey, stop this, but I know what your stance is on it. So I understand you're probably how you're going to vote, because he wasn't for the bill at all. He wasn't for the cuts, and you probably know that because you've seen it in his posts. He posts that, I mean, he doesn't like to see, I mean, he's being very open about what's happening on it. So
they cut to the old people, they cut to the schools, they cut the small cities. It's just.
And then that same breath, they gave away 16 billion others surplus, and who got it?
Yeah.
Is there a receipt? I'm not.
Well, this is all very subjective at this point, of course.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's all happening. Yes.
If it goes
Yeah.
through or not.
Yeah, it could. It's still in. It still has passed the. It has passed the Senate now. Then that has passed.
If it were to be enacted, what kind of impact? That's going to have a significant impact on whether to move forward or not with enlarging the facility, wouldn't it?
I mean, so are we, if we were planning on using our funding that we currently have, I mean, if we were using our funding and saying that that was going to carry an addition, I don't even think we should actually consider that. We would look at the addition has to be able to pay for the revenue. It has to generate enough revenue to pay for its own.
Oh, I guarantee you. I
So
guarantee
there's not that, but we need to look at, there's going to be cuts. I mean, what the assisted living, so this is actually, I mean, just an elderly waiver and, making cuts to the elderly. I have not seen those and what that means. I mean, this directly is nursing home.
Oh.
So this is nursing home rates and nursing home.
Right.
We like to say that our assisted living carries itself, nursing home.
I
you know,
understand what you're saying.
But through the years, there's an overlap.
Develop a project.
Yeah.
Believing that it's going to cash flow.
Yeah, it's
itself.
gonna cash flow itself.
However, the smart money also says,
Mhm.
if it doesn't,
Yeah, no,
let's look at it so that if there's a surprise, it's a good surprise, not a bad surprise.
Yeah.
So, looking at it from that lens,
I mean,
would that have a severe impact on the ability to do a project or not?
of course, it always, and I think for everybody and anybody in the community and building houses, anybody is looking at it like, not just any business is looking at it. What does this mean? Do we take the chance? Do we not? So, I mean, yes, of course it could. But also, what is the need out there? And is it going to? I don't know. I mean, that's a very good question. And it's a question that we don't know the end. Yeah.
Needed.
It shows that there's a need.
Well, I believe there will be. I've said all along that,
I mean, that's assisted living. This is nursing home.
I've said all along that we baby boomers, we're not getting any younger. And there's a whole big batch of us that'll be moving into that phase of life. So I believe the demand will be there, but
Yeah. And as far as that note on, is there any more questions on that? Like I said, it's all. Yep. So as far as the building, we can talk about that. I mean, I have gotten back some plans and I've had talked to them or sent back and said, like to, they didn't really have like common areas that, necessarily maybe would fit. So they're kind of drew it again. I mean, I can show you them. They're not, I don't have a cost because the last time I got it back, I said, what would that be at 26,000 square feet approximate? No, 24,000 square feet. What would that cost us approximately? Because I have no cost. And I think that's our big thing, even to have more discussion with our staff and anybody. What point do we want to know what that's going to cost? I mean, we don't start meeting with residents and meeting with staff and having those discussions if it's going to be no, like let's.
Well, I think we need to get a base figure. Like you said, it's 24,000 square feet. They should be able to give us some kind of a projected per square foot.
They ballpark, square footage, I think, from $300 to $400.
So it's about
And on wood compared to.
So it's like 7 to 8 million.
like 2 million for the 24,000, 300.
when I read in the minutes that there was discussion where they're talking about it would be nice to have a commons area and a cafe was mentioned.
Yes. So that is what she did add to that. I'm sorry, I didn't make a bunch of copies, but if any of you want, you can maybe make some copies if you want a copy of it. I don't really want to put it, it's very preliminary and I don't want it in the newspaper or anything.
Yeah,
but yes, that was the discussion and when she came back with it, we're at the entrance, I would have liked to see, like I said, an area and maybe a cafe, because our dining room, currently the way it is, would not be able to support 20 more residents to eat in our dining room. And I kind of would like to look at something more, not a meal that's served necessarily 3 times a day. That's, they still maybe could have that option. Some people might want to, but just something that they can just we would serve certain items in like a cafe type of an area, like the hospital has. And that's the kind of the idea, where they have that coffee shop in the hospital. They have certain things that they
Yeah,
serve.
because you're looking at this addition as more of a
Independent.
prior to assisted living.
Yeah.
independence.
We might have some that would be assisted living in that area as well, but it would be, a combination. And so just give them a different opportunity for eating, maybe even with, visitors or something like that, or coffee. I went to a food show last week in the Duluth, and it was the first time I've ever been to a food show. It was actually really good. I mean, we're looking at menu changes and stuff, and I looked at some equipment, things that you could put in something in an area like that for fast preparation of food, and what would be allowed to be without a hood, and we're limited to fried foods and can't. So
You want, you can wait, see us will have rough numbers for you.
hopefully by the board meeting, we have a rough number for that. So then by the June meeting, we'd have a rough number.
Can I just look at that?
Yeah, sure.
I'll get right back to you. I want to see it.
Yeah, sure.
What are you,
This would be off at the end of it as a snake, and then it's off the middle of.
what are you foreseeing for development of the courtyard? I read that needs some updating.
Yeah, it has a lot of old bushes and stuff in there that should come out, and I'd like to see, it has grass and they bring a mower in there to mow. It would be nice to put more like flowers or something in there.
The residents sit out there a lot, don't
They
they?
do sit out there, and they also, obviously some of the rooms look into it. It really needs to happen somewhere. I did ask Greater tomorrow about it. The problem is going to be, what can we get in there to get that stuff
Where
out?
is the one by the fountain was, or?
The courtyard door is off of South Hallway. So where that family room is, not far from the TCO or entrance where they have the board meeting. It's not far from there.
That's the courtyard.
Yes, yep, right in the middle,
Jody.
that center.
Yeah.
Has some big trees in there, but also has a lot of shrubs that need to be cleaned up and taken out of there. We did pour concrete in there. It was that time it would have been nice to do the whole thing, but we did the concrete during COVID, I think it was 2022, 24, 2021. So. I haven't heard back on our audit. They must be done. They haven't been collecting any more information. So I know that, I don't know when is your audit done?
No, we're scheduled, I think, next week for 2 days.
Or next week? Okay. Because it needs to be submitted to the state by the 30th. So if they present it at the June 9th meeting,
And it's been May 30th?
June 30th, right?
June 30th, so we have to have a special meeting for that.
Oh,
We
yours
have a
is-
work session.
You got a work session on the 30th, that's right.
You have a work session on June 30th?
Believe me.
Is that enough time though for you to submit it if our audit is done? Then I just thought maybe it should be the night that they present ours, and you're not waiting for ours then. If it's possible.
Yeah, no, if you get it done, let me know and I'll get it on the agenda.
Otherwise you probably have to have a special meeting for it, but otherwise you can try a joint one on the 9th. We can talk about it at our board meeting. Okay, yeah, like I said, nursing home week this week, we have a lot of activities planned, and I had, we've never, we just say this, we've never, scheduled and we're not going to do it. We never scheduled the last time we had a cookout, outside, and I believe that it got canceled then, but the last time we scheduled one is in 2013. And this year, someone brought it up, like, why don't we do a cookout or camp out or cookout for marshmallows or something, s'mores? And this has been planned for 2-3 months. And guess what? Tomorrow looks like it did in 2013. Today looked like it did in 2013. I will not wear the shirt. This was a 2016 one, but 2013, we had blaze orange shirts. That was what we wore that day. And we all got hauled back in. And when the fire department and everybody came to evacuate, I said, talk to anybody with a blaze orange shirt because they're employees here. Oh, that was so this year I said, I don't know if you should schedule that. But yes, today I'm like, we're not having it.
You're retired, your blades are shirt.
We didn't cause the fire, but
Yeah.
it brings back memories.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's pretty dry out there.
Yes.
Anyway. Don't think I have any other notes on my here. You guys have anything for me?
60th fall plan.
Oh, well, food trucks. I did reach out to some on the food trucks tentatively. We had some music today for nursing home week. I did tentatively ask if you would be able to play at that time too. So I mean, maybe some things. But otherwise, no, I have not. I have not planned it. So
Anything else?
One question for you, Laura. How long ago did you sign the contract with the company for the Philippine nurses? How long ago was that?
let's see. So 2000, when did I just get back from when I did the city job? 2023 was that? 23, 22 to 23.
Yeah.
So February 23. So we're over 2 years.
How long are we gonna hold on to that before we tell the company cancel us and refund us?
So I just actually, I got an email back today because I sent an email in April and I hadn't gotten a response. So I got an email back. I mean, the last thing is like, rest assured, you will get your nurses. When I was saying, do we get a refund or what do we get for a refund? Or I say, I'm assuming some of that money has been spent on attorney fees, so it's going to be really hard on some of it because they've already paid it out. But I said, yeah. They said, when can we get some of the money back? Or when should we be looking at getting the money back? I said.
It would seem to me that the attorney fees is their cost of doing business.
So we're not getting nurses.
Our cost. What?
We're not gonna get the nurses.
It's not a no. It's just time.
Still.
They were. Let's see.
I'm sure you're on top of it. So.
Yeah.
All right, take a motion to approve the monthly report on financials as presented by Greenwood Connections Administrator Laura Hall.
Don't move.
All right. Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Same sign. Thank you, Laura.
Brian, fire department,
I got. I forgot to get the monthly report, so.
You guys haven't had a fire.
I was just gonna say that with the fire department, Derwin and I were supposed to meet with them and they have not contacted me to set up a time. I've mentioned it to Brett 2 or 3 times and he in turn, he's told me has texted them
yeah, emailed and
or
And face
emailed
to
or
face.
texted. So I don't know what the deal
Our
is.
next budget meeting's on the 20th. It should be nice to have some information.
You have any idea why the slow march is going on?
All I know is he's back to full steam with work, so that I don't know.
Well, if he's too busy to meet with us, you'd think he would then send his assistant chief.
Think.
I'll see if I can get it moving.
Yeah, we need to meet to find out.
Yeah, we gotta know.
That turnout gear is gonna be a big one. We gotta get on that to figure out how we're gonna cover the cost of that.
Because that was
Find a grant writer right now.
How many units?
Yeah, I mean, we're spinning our wheels right now.
How many units of turnout gear is there 24?
Yeah, I think that's right.
25 was it?
25?
10 grand a piece.
Well, I think 25 is our max amount of people that is on, but I think there's 24 on right now. And that's kind of our sweet number, so. And to do it'll be about.
Go to see what you can do. Just tell them we need to start figuring some things out.
Yeah, I know if it's not, you're a little grant, we're looking for a grant on that because the city obviously can't afford dollars. They got it on a grant last time, so hopefully we get.
Well, hopefully it was through the FEMA, so hopefully there's.
You know, if they
I
don't-
wonder if Sourcewell has any funding for that kind of expenditure.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know you can go through, for fire trucks, you can go through
Oh, for buying, yeah,
Sourcewell,
yeah.
but I don't know for turnout gear,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
What needs to be pursued. as soon as
Worth
possible.
exploring.
Good morning. How you doing? All right, well, I don't have much to write down here, but just a quick thing of what I wrote here. This month's been nonstop rush to get the campground, beach and the pier completed as this weather just went up so quickly. We had some problems at the campground on the beach with, older fittings just leaking and some of the seals and stuff just becoming brittle, just falling apart. So I had to get J-Bros in there to help out and get the parts that we needed to get that up and running. And now that they are, everything's been going good. Still working on site 15 and 17. 17 is pretty much done. The only thing I haven't done there yet is get the fire pit in place. I have it sitting out there, but I need to get it concreted so I can set the fire pit itself on there. And I have several, up to 12 of my pads that are out there all cracked and broke for fire pits. Someone stole the one on site 4. I don't know why it's gone, but I have a replacement for it. And then the lifeguard chair should be done this week. Ralph's gonna be coming in early on Thursday, and we're gonna get all the holes drilled and stuff. He did some really nice work on his own time. Get the wood and everything for the seating and the steps. I'm hoping to get most of these projects done before the 1st, even before Memorial Day. So I'm gonna be working as much as I can, just trying to get black dirt out on 15 to seal in my pad out there, because we lifted it almost 2 feet. Was along with the road over by there so that it doesn't flood anymore. I haven't had a chance to see it.
We're gonna need to rain.
Right.
Hopefully this weekend.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, so I want to get that black dirt out there too and get it seeded and looking good so that I can see what happens there. But other than that, it's just an ongoing process of getting this stuff done. As for that lifeguard chair, Ralph and I have picked out a spot, and we're gonna place it up against the wall, that foundation wall, and seal it to it so that, some people in the middle of the night who may have had a couple toddies or something can't go out there and tip it over, because it is heavy. We just want to make sure it stays in place. From what I understand, they've been tipped over before, not just by people, but even by wind. And then I gotta get the buoys out, and I gotta find the location to put the floating raft if the lifeguards are gonna be a true fact. So, and I'm hoping they are. I did some phone interviews last week with 3 of our applicants, and they all seem like they're on the ball. So
You get your boys out quick, because believe it or not, 2 days ago I drove over there and there were kids swimming in the lake.
well, it's been all week.
Oh,
They were swimming over by the fishing dock after I
oh,
put that.
good Lord.
And we got that 20-foot piece put onto the pier, pushed it out further. So, and I got that whole area nice and cleaned up, and anything that was sitting there that's been there for a while, I got it the heck out of there and stored it over at the shop. So everything's along nice. In fact, I seen Gary out there on his wheelchair. So I was like, all right, cool. He was pretty happy about that, seeing it was extended out. So there's that. Not much more. Ongoing cleanup out at the out at the burn pit, and then I was out there today, someone decided to drive through the two piles of, compost, where the leaves and everything gets put, and they decided to dump dirt and brush through there, and I was like, oh, Sam. So I just locked it, hoping that they don't go beyond that near the fence of the lagoons and start dumping. I don't know why they're dumping there. It's pretty obvious we got a big old spoil pile in that southwest corner. The sand, you can see it is, but other than that, everything else is coming along pretty nice. I did get the, I don't have the bids yet, but I talked to J Bros because I want to get rid of the two drinking fountains that we have out at the campground. I want to put in a water fill drinking fountain, get one of them so they can fill their water bottles or just get a drink if they need to. And then get the one that's missing at the beach with the water fill as well. So once those bids come in, I'll direct those and go from there. Other than that, I don't have much more.
We don't have any dead trees at the beach this year.
Oh, there's some that we've been limbing them, and I got a lot more limbing to do. We got a couple dead trees at the end, branches that came down, got rid of those. But we got that one dead tree there by the fire hydrant, closer to the end of Cedar and 87.
Oh, yeah, down at the end of that bench is chained to it.
Yeah, that one's always worried a little bit.
That down sometime, yeah.
Other than that, yeah, just trying to keep them clean and trying to get rid of all the angry branches out there too that always hit the loader or the plow trucks.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Got to get rid of those. They're too low. We got to swing in there and push snow or anything like that, or someone with a big camper decides to come through there. I don't want anybody ruining their stuff, just like out at the campground. I got more branches to take down, especially some ugly ones that just ruin a tree.
Oh, it looks good. Drove through there the other week, just to.
Yeah, I did too. Those two campsites look good.
Yeah, and then I got that little road built across from 10. That's where the new primitives will go. I got all my trees marked off. I'm going to try and push in a little bit further, maybe about another 30 or 40 feet, and then it'll give me a little bit more room in there. And I don't want to intersect into any of the possibility of the disc golf courses future expansion out there. So, working on that. I got to get a hold of Kangas and talk to them and see if I can get them to go out there and take the trees down.
Right, next order of business here,
It's good. Well, don't go anywhere.
Well, all right, next order.
so we have Ralph and James Muller, and yeah, you can look at the second sheet here. Their pay has been kind of their own scale, and I mean this is nowhere else in our records other than like I'm sure the conversation started with, hey, we'll pay you this, come and work for us. And that's how it went. And what I would like to do is just adopt these two positions into the pre-existing positions and just call them bartender / seasonal grade 1, and then assistant liquor store manager seasonal grade 2. And I think that'll just kind of consolidate some of this, make it easier for record keeping and just pay in general. And yeah, it'll save us a headache in the long run and the short run. And with that being said, I have a resolution to just kind of formally adopt seasonal grade 1 and seasonal grade 2 into our pre-existing pay scale.
Read it.
Resolution establishing seasonal pay classifications within the city pay scale, whereas the city of Menahga employs seasonal personnel to assist with essential maintenance and upkeep of city grounds facilities. And whereas Ralph Cox and James Muller have contributed valuable service in these roles, supporting city operations through tasks such as mowing, groundskeeping, and general maintenance. And Whereas the city of Menahga recognizes the importance of formally incorporating these positions into the city's established compensation framework to ensure transparency, consistency, and fairness in compensation practices. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Menahga, Minnesota, that the following seasonal pay classifications are hereby added to the official City of Menahga pay scale. Seasonal grade 1 assigned to James Mueller and placed at the pay rate equivalent to the bartender pay scale. Seasonal grade 2 assigned to Ralph Cox and placed at the pay rate equivalent to the assistant liquor store manager pay scale. Be it further resolved, this classification takes effect upon approval and shall apply to seasonal employees engaged in similar duties in the future as determined appropriate by administration. Adopted by the City of Menahga, adopted by the Menahga City Council this day, the 12th day of May, 2025.
What your motion does not say is what step they're to be brought in.
If you look at the, I don't have that in here.
Well, first of all, we have to assign them to a pay scale. That's what the resolution is for.
Yeah,
That's the resolution.
The resolution is just adopting the seasonal grade 1 and seasonal grade 2. It's not assigning any pay scale.
You moving that?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No. Now, what step were you talking?
Unfortunately, that action memo did not make it into the packet. I apologize, council. I'd have to look at it here. For Ralph, he is currently at 1974. 1947, excuse me, and that would be
Very beastie.
Step 8 would be the step,
The closest.
yes. Step 8 would be the closest.
and 6 for molar would be the step up. Are those the steps you're recommending?
I am recommending those steps.
I'll move step 8 for Ralph Cox and step 6 for Jay Moore.
I'll second that.
Well.
Yeah, and that, okay, good. I give them a red as well for this year. Part of this as well is, in my conversations with Brian,
We got a move. Oh, yep, we got the motion in a second. Any more discussion?
no, this isn't done.
I feel that's fair, and it's giving him that next, this year's increase, so.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
I wanted to say, anecdotally, we're gonna give our seasonal employees, to include the lifeguards, evaluations at the end of, their season. And that's something that we're gonna also give to them. And it can be used, in the future as well.
Makes sense. Next up is the lifeguard service.
Yes, we're gonna ask the same thing that Ron asked, and that is just authority to hire before the June meeting. We just want to lean forward on making sure that they get their orientation, get their uniforms, and also work on their plans for the swim instructor of how exactly they want to do it. Same thing would also be for getting a background check and everything else.
When are we opening the beach?
We have it open for lifeguards. What we said is June 16th.
June 16th.
Yes.
August. Something. Prior to school starting.
Prior to school starting, yeah. I think we ended it a little early just because that's when their football or whatever camps come available, and we'd lose them.
I'll move that the personnel committee and the administration be authorized to hire the lifeguard and swim instructor.
So second.
Any more discussion?
How many candidates you got? 3?
The lifeguard and the separate swim instructor?
Well, actually, they're all being trained for instruction, so.
No lifeguard?
Well, only 2 of them will be lifeguards, one will be like the main instructor. So my biggest question to him was, do you work well with others? And they all said, yeah, they were really well.
So are you saying all three of them are certified instructors? And two of them also are lifeguards?
On the 18th of this month, will be done with their instruction to teach swim classes.
Swim instructors,
Yes,
but are they also lifeguards?
yes.
Okay, so they have both certifications.
Right, only
That's
one of
great.
them right now
That's great.
needs to retest for her lifeguard, and she asked if we were going to help out with that, and I didn't give her an answer. I said that was something that I would talk to.
What was the
everybody about.
cost?
I found one online at one of them, it's like $285 for the testing and certification, recertification.
I think when we made the motion to hire, it was on them to, they would come to us with certification.
Right,
When I hired insurance agents for the agency at the bank, I mean, they had to pay to get their insurance license.
Yeah.
There was no value to me without it. Same situation here.
right. Which is tomorrow, I will send her information saying this is something you need to do on your own if you want to work here.
In order to be qualified, you have to have it.
Well, I think that's absolutely great.
Okay, so Mike made the motion, Durban seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Now that we're gonna have swim instructors, my question I'm gonna ask is, are we gonna coordinate at all with the school? In lining up classes, kids to
We'll
take classes?
post that they're available and
Yeah, people show up.
I'm sure there will be plenty of kids or parents that are gonna want to.
Cause if we partnered with the school, they could send information home with kids, to the parents and that kind of thing and put it in their newsletter. Things of that nature to help get the word out. That's all. That's with that respect. I'm
We
asking.
don't know for certain until the next meeting that we have them though, so by then we're at June 9th.
And they still have a community ed flyer that comes out in the mail.
I believe, yeah, they do. They still do the community. Yeah.
Could have submitted in that.
Maybe we can get it, yeah, maybe we can get it through that.
You know, Jage knows pretty well.
Yeah.
I'll know that community ed till the end of the year. But the athletic director and community ed position is getting cut, so.
Yeah, Jay's supposed to do it or whatever.
Yeah.
They're still gonna do it. It'll just won't be the designated AD. All right, well, that takes care of your stuff. All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks.
Unfinished business.
Yes, council, I did send you the write-up. It's also, behind you on the board there. We went through a sequence of events, between myself, Brian and Diane, to really find out exactly just what happened when. And, we gave you the conclusion that, we gave them a new meter and, we asked them, we charged them for it.
Not been following the policy.
This
Policy
was all done following our city policy.
Correct.
So it's one of them things where yeah, it's tough, but I mean, following the policy, we're responsible to the stop. And homeowner is responsible from the stop on, so. I
And
don't,
you get in that problem if you start deviating from policy and people come back, well, you did it for this person.
I think we're always best to stick in the policy. Unfortunately for Erica, but it's how it works.
It's just a consensus that we're staying with policy.
Yep, it's a stated policy, so.
No.
Something, I don't think we have.
I don't think it was printed out. Let me
Memo on what, Julie?
For the total on the bills.
Oh,
We have to have a total before we can have a motion.
I have the amounts, council. I apologize for not having the action memo in here. I just wasn't here.
How much were they?
Yes, batch 042325 EFT is for the amount of $8,614.33. Batch 050125 pay is for the amount of $12,395.25. Batch 050125 EFT is in the amount of $8,518.99.
Total.
Yes.
$19,057.57.
For the total amount of $29,528.57.
Albert. All right, so entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Bills. Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Look,
no. We kind of skipped over some stuff here because the administration report. And I've got some questions. I don't know what's going on with the liquor store and their credit card surcharge fees. And I say that because it's making no sense. On the liquor store off sale, you take a look at the credit card surcharge is $7,601.04. The credit card charge fees are $6,852.58. So for the first third of the year, we made $748.46. Conversely, when you look at the on sale, the credit card surcharge is $3,019.76 or 75 cents. And the charges, credit card charges are $4,523.06, resulting in a loss to the city for the first fourth of the year, third of the year of $1,503.29. So something is goofy here.
So we asked Heather about this previously. We cannot charge for our statement fees. We can only charge the 3.5, 3.2, whatever it is.
Our charges are.
We can only charge that, but then we still get charged statement fee from the company. So that's why there's more.
But a statement fee isn't going to be around $400 a month.
I don't know what it is exactly. I know there's some issues in February. They don't come cheap.
And I suppose we pay but one statement fee.
Well,
I mean,
legally,
the on sale, off sale is going to be on one
should be on one statement.
Even so, I mean, something isn't working right here. It just isn't.
Right, I know they had some issues in Banyan in February that we're trying to work through at this point. Banyan did something on a double batch and we don't know why and we don't know what, and they're still trying to correct that. That might have something to do with it.
Double batches that had to do with the credit card fee?
I don't know. I know Heather said there's issues with her report there. The numbers we got from Heather's other sheets in here are accurate, but something in this system did not work.
But her sheets don't carry, I don't think they carry the credit card surcharge and credit card charges. I don't think that's on there.
No, I know it's something we're looking into on her budget sheets, or something's goofy with them. Kelly's working on it. Brett just got back, so they're digging into it. Heather noticed it, and she said something's not right here.
I know that Heather and Kelly both sat down and went through everything. They did find an error.
On the credit card charges and
in Banyan, they found an error.
just Banyan in general.
Yes, but I don't know what the second and third order effects of it all are.
So we're still working on it, I know that.
Was it the error in Banyan, was it an input error? Or was it,
No, they were on the phone with Banyan and Banyan can't explain it. The people at Banyan can't explain how it could do what it did. You know?
The other thing I wanted to talk about, which was listed on here under item 14, is the bank securities pledge and investment report. And this report is making no sense. And I don't think it's being filled out correctly. So I took the information, extrapolated it into a different format, one that I used in banking. And I'll give it to you and we can go over it. The first 2 pages are dealing with the breakdown of the deposits at Community First Bank. And the second page is at True Star Credit Union. Then behind those 2 pages, I printed out, and it's important for the council to understand, exactly how the deposit insurance coverage works on municipal deposits. And this is an easy to read, easy to understand explanation of how that works. So if you take a look at what I put together, say on the Community First Bank. It lists the different deposit types that they have, and I picked all of that up off of this report that was in our board packet. And then I put in a summary to show what the total deposits at Community First Bank are, which are, as of that report date, $5,185,237.83. But then from that point going forward, you start breaking it out as to whose deposits are the city, what deposits are Greenwood Connection. I had no way of telling that from the report that was in our board packet. You absolutely could not tell. And it's important to know that, because what appears to happen is they are taking the deposits, but then they're saying you got 500,000 of coverage. So they have to pledge over that amount. Well, that's not correct. Let me make a real simple example. You have 200, when you read the FDIC information I put in there, and I truly do encourage you to read it, you'll read that you have $250,000 of coverage for demand deposit, for checking. And you have $250,000 for time and savings. Okay? So you can't say we got 500,000 all on this deposit. It doesn't work that way. Let me make a real easy, simple example. Let's say that common ownership number one has a deposit of 150,000 at the bank. Common ownership number two has a deposit of, say, 350,000 at the bank, and let's say they're both kept in checking account. So then the way this report is being done, the way that was in your board packet, that 150 and 350 is being combined to get 500,000 total. And they're saying you got $500,000 of coverage, so pledge needed zero. Well, that's totally not true, because you got 250,000 of checking account coverage, and both those accounts are checking accounts. So common ownership number one has $150,000 of checking account deposit. They have $250,000 of coverage. Everything is insured. Common ownership two in my example has $350,000 of checking account, $250,000 of FDIC insurance, leaving $100,000 uninsured that has to be covered by pledge. And by state law, the pledge has to equal 110% of the uninsured deposit. So they'd have to have securities equaling $110,000 of market value. So the way it was being done that we got in our packet, just it presents a very confusing, very foggy picture that isn't quite correct. If you were to follow down the way it's done in this format and follow that format, it's going to make sense and it will be right. Conversely, I spread what was carried at TrueStar. Now, I believe only the city carries deposits at TrueStar, I believe. When I was on Greenwood Connection, I don't believe any of their deposits were at True Star. Or
There are,
do they have it?
they have some, yep.
Okay. Well, then, again, I don't know what is the cities. I don't know what is Greenwood's. But again, it just follows the same format going down. And if that format is followed, it'll be right and will be properly insured. In addition, there should always be an attachment to the report from the bank listing the actual securities pledged.
I have that.
That should always be attached as part of the report.
I got it in the mail today, though.
And we requested that as a quarterly.
Yeah, we did. We asked for it quarterly. So, well, you should have had that because of the numbers on the report that come to the council should be the numbers on this report. And then a copy of that pledge report should accompany the report to the council. And the same with True Star Credit Union. If you have any questions going forward, reach out. Or come up and I'll go through it with you.
Well, you're not saying that this is the only way this can be done, right? There's more than, there's generally more than one way to do things.
I mean, typically,
I'm sure there may be, I said, I reached back into my work history and this is the format we use.
I mean, what I've been doing is basically talking to Laura. I get our amount in the checking account, give it to her, and then she makes sure that it gets put.
He's always filled this out. You've never filled one out, have you?
No.
Well, I think it's important for you to do a hands-on, become intimately familiar with how it's done. And then, of course, knowledge of this is critical.
Well, I would say we're not going to go as far as say this is the only way to do it. What we are going to say is we want to make sure we're covered. Right? That's what we're looking for, is to make sure we are 100% covered on our EIC insurance.
Yeah, I think it'd be important that the council sees what Community First is pledging. I mean, is it real estate? Is it bonds? Is it something? I don't know.
Something to cover.
I'll send the council the pledge report I got today.
And it should break out and tell us whose deposit is whose.
It does.
Anything else on that subject?
No, I just wanted to present that for the council to see and understand.
It's our closed session. We move into closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13D.05 subdivision 3A to evaluate performance of Brett Gagnon Power City Clerk Treasurer. Eight.
Oh, yeah, folks, we are closing the stream. Once we're done with my evaluation, we are going to adjourn. That will not be on stream. Thank you for attending and have a great night.